I have a degree in entomology.
Yes. And I'll be asking her some questions. How many years did you go to college for your degree?
I went to college for 4 years for my degree. I have a bachelor's degree, a BS in entomology.
What jobs have you had related to your degree?
I started out in college working for a research department where we were working for, trying to remember, it's been a very long time. We were trying to find a way to sterilize mosquitoes, which I understand has recently been approved. And I also worked in the fire ant lab to try to help with a fire ant eradication program. Then I worked in a private company outside of the college with a man who was working on boll weevil project. And then I decided that maybe working in entomology wasn't for me, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So I went back and I got my teaching certification to teach biology-related topics, and then I also got certified to teach all sciences.
So why did you choose this degree?
I chose this degree because I originally started out in biochemistry and was told right away that most people in biochemistry weren't working in biochemistry. They were trying to get into med school. But I was very interested in genetics and the molecular biology.
Okay. What is the typical salary for an entomologist?
Entomologists can range in salary. It depends on if you are a worker for a company. If you're a worker for a company, you could just be on an hourly salary and not get much. And as you stay in the job, you can get more and more. But a lot of people that are in entomology go into research, and those jobs typically are in the 30,000 range. And a lot of them open up their own companies and work for themselves, and then depending on how good a business management they have, they could be even higher than that. The other job I have, teaching, of course, starts in the 30s and works up to the 40s, or if you stay there long enough, maybe the 50s.
Okay. What typical thing do you do from day to day?
In entomology, what they typically did, if you were a researcher, was you clean a lot of glassware, you take a lot of notes, you work on the computer a lot, so you have to have good computer skills, and you do a lot of things that a lot of people would consider very icky. You have to mix up foods for the insects that you're trying to keep alive to research, and feed them and clean up after them, and then you also get to work with the technical equipment, lots of microscope work. When we were trying to do surgery on mosquitoes, that was quite interesting.
Okay, what is your favorite and least favorite part of your job?
Okay, the reason I left entomology is because it was a lot of outside work. A lot of in the field, outside, hot, working with non-air conditioned trucks, and that just wasn't what I was wanting to do. I wanted to be more in the lab, working with the lab equipment and making biology discoveries. And that wasn't the reality of what most of the work in entomology was at that time for me. Favorite part of that work was, again, making the discoveries. It was very interesting for me to hear just the other day that they had figured out a way to kill a gland in a mosquito that's going to help with the mosquito population because it makes them unable to reproduce.
Didn't know that. That's cool. So what was the hardest part of your job?
Again, the hardest part of that job was being out in the heat. The hardest part of the job that I had for 25 years after that, teaching biology, the hardest part, I guess, was all the paperwork. The most interesting part was trying to get very complex topics across to young minds.
Did you have to travel much for your job?
When I was working in entomology, we had to drive around a lot to different areas in Texas. I know a lot of people that were in entomology research, and they did travel around all the United States to go to different conferences and see research in different areas over the same topics. With teaching, I didn't travel very much outside of the state.